Marek here. We're about to start in a minute. Can you please just confirm if you can hear me, if you can see me, and whether you can see the slide? With the rhetorical question that I'm gonna try to reply today with a more positive aspect than the question itself. Okay, let's quickly test if you can also see where I am when I'm changing the slides. Now you should see the slide with our house. Please let me know if you can see the slide with our house as well to make sure the slides are changing. Yep, okay. Slides are changing, awesome. So 1 minute and we're starting. Okay, let's do it. Thank you so much for your attendance. Actually, we were overwhelmed with the amount of interest with this trust. This has surprised us in a very positive way and has given us even more motivation to push it. This is the first webinar of its kind where we are rolling out slowly our strategy and what we're doing with the Land Bank Trust. That is extremely important part of our bigger vision of Samana Group and Nomad City in the peninsula that you are most likely familiar with, because I believe that if you are here on this webinar, it's because you've already known us, because we haven't been promoting this beyond our network of people who follow us and support us. And you probably know us from Samana Group as a holding, and you probably know us from Nomad City. I want to quickly go back to the very beginning, and I'm going to show you the most gringo photo I could ever find. This is me with Jerica 8 years ago. I've done the most obvious gringo journey into Samana, where Jerica has shown me how beautiful this region is. And like every gringo, that was 8 years ago, first day in Samana. Oh, I'm so sorry, but the slide has disappeared. 1 second. Okay, they are back now. 8 years ago, like typical gringo, I fall in love with the region. You know, I was coming from a concrete jungle. That's where I had my business. I was not super happy, not super healthy. I moved to Samana, and the region has healed me on so many levels. And I would never expect that I could be more involved in other businesses here. But here we are, also trying to do well by doing good. Fast forward 8 years, I'm representing a holding whose collective experience in real estate and in the Dominican Republic and in Samana can be counted in 70 years. The co-founders and shareholders of Samana have been active here on different types of activities, from land titling to hospitality to land development and recently real estate development. We are a team of international and local managers. You probably know me, Piotr Baran being the co-GP, real estate developer with more than 20 years experience in Poland, running one of the biggest real estate development company with 10,000 units on their portfolio. Belen Regis, Ronald Baez, Adelaida Adames, Dominicans with more than 20 years experience, although they look very young in the industry and in the region. I don't have to tell you much about Dominican Republic or Samana. I'm just going to quickly jump through the slides because I know there are some people who for whom this is interesting. Of course, location is so important for Dominican Republic, being in the middle of Americas, where people from biggest markets of the world can actually come here below 4 hours. Dominican Republic is kind of a wonder child of the economical development of the whole Latin America region. According to IMF, actually is the fastest growing country when it comes to increasing life standards overall. Of course, Dominican Republic is not without problems, but it is overall the fastest growing economy when it comes to increasing life standards in the whole LATAM, only now followed by Panama and Chile. And actually, Dominican Republic is not growing from tourism. DR is growing thanks to industry, thanks to services. DR has one of the highest number of special economic zones per capita in the world, and so on. People are really drawn to Dominican Republic, I believe, because it can give you a very interesting lifestyle quality at still decent prices. And when you compare it to the Caribbean region or to Florida, what makes geopolitically interesting in the Dominican Republic is that the island is big enough to be self-sufficient when it comes to food, when it comes to energy, when it comes to sweet water reserves in case of a trouble. Usually Caribbean or island destinations overall are a paradise, but they become hell when problems start happening, when shit hits the fan. The size of the Dominican Republic actually is helping it here. Samana, which is the region which we're focused on, is of course one of the most up-and-coming regions in the world, which is gaining so much interest both on the good side and on the bad side. Strategically, Samana is so important for so many companies and countries. It's because of the natural bay that protects big boats and actually attracts also cruise ships, which we're going to talk about it as well. Although being a small region, not too overcrowded, it's one of the most cosmopolitan regions in the Dominican Republic because many European settlers and residents have settled here, and it actually has the highest number of the highest diversity of different nations when it comes to all the regions of the Dominican Republic. And the fact that you have a healthy proportion of residents versus tourists ends up in the fact that the region is way safer than the other comparable regions in the Caribbean, simply because when you have too much tourists in comparison to the residents, crime starts to cripple in. The Samana doesn't have that problem yet. Will it have it? Most likely. Will we be able to deal with it? Hopefully so. Okay, so what have we done as Samana Group in Samana? Well, we started like everyone else. We just became a real estate developer with a little bit of tweaks. Nomad City is the most known project of ours. You can actually see here a render showing 100 units, but they're not so visible because it's super low impact, low density, and we don't build above the trees. It's a community for people that want to live a few months per year in the country, that by buying units, not to invest, not to rent it, but to spend time there. That's why they're interested in co-working areas, longevity centers. They're not asking about casinos or nightclubs. We've been pretty successful with this particular project. We were able to sell out all stage one, which is 100 units. Our best sellers are these very modest looking houses, 2-bedroom, 1,100 square feet, always with a view, because the view is protected by the master plan, at the price point between $250,000 and $350,000. We don't provide to luxury market. We provide to mid-market. So everyone coming from middle class can afford this without too much of a strain. That's our focus. When it comes to the interiors, we use only local suppliers, only local subcontractors, and supplies when it comes to wood or other elements that we use inside. This is actually a real photo. That's not a render. So this has been sold. This has been created. We've come up with this idea. Are there many more gringos like me that would like to live here? Can we build a product that is simpler, with more respect to nature, that is also cheaper? And the answer was yes. And we were so happy being able to develop it. But at some point, question comes: what next? Of course, we also wanted to be a good player for the local community. Besides supporting the local community with jobs and contracts for example, furniture, we've decided to reinvest 5% of our profits into empowering female entrepreneurship. We've given out a few loans to local entrepreneurs at 0%. We're having a constant English as foreign language classes for the local communities. And actually, when you look at our region, we as Samana Group, we operate between Monterroja and El Valle. We are the biggest employer and the biggest taxpayer in the region. I don't think it necessarily means we're the biggest company. I just think it means, we're not avoiding paying taxes. Because we do believe that paying taxes to the government is also a crucial part, because that money then goes to infrastructure. Whether this money is spent the proper way or not, it's another discussion. Whether it can be improved. So that's basically Nomad City. This is what we have been doing. We started working on this project in 2022. It took us a few months to buy the land, to get permits, another few months to find the subcontractors, do a lot of tweaks, finally sell it. One of the biggest challenges of any real estate project is, can you sell it? Will you find clients for your idea, for your price point? And it actually worked. And we were so happy. Now the project is sold out and it's under construction. So I guess the question remains, what else? Like, can we as a developer just build more of it and bring more people here and at the same time be a resident of Samana? Unfortunately, the truth is not so simple, because there's a certain point when too much is just too much, when enough is enough. When you look at the total aggregated numbers, these are official numbers of the government of the municipality. Samana is definitely booming, and I'm not saying this either in a positive way or negative way. It's a statement of the fact when it comes to the number of constructions, when it comes to number of given permits. These are the government data. Now a little bit of anecdotal data. These are screenshots of Google Maps from 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and now you can see an increase of settlements threefold or fourfold when it comes to Las Terrenas. So the question remains, can you sustain the quality of lifestyle, and also can you sustain the balance in the ecosystem with such a high speed of growth? And probably the question is, the answer is not so easy, but the problem has to be stated, because we believe not too many people talk about it in Samana. Now, what is also happening when it comes to the presence and the expansion of international players. So this is Samana Peninsula. You all know that beautiful shape. On the north side, you see the Atlantic Ocean. On the south side, you see the bay. Oh, and by the way, please ask questions as we speak. At the end of the presentation, I should be speaking for another 20 minutes. I want to be fast. Then we will do a Q&A session. So I really hope we're going to have an interactive session. So I will be answering the questions at the order of them coming in. So feel free to ask them all now in the chat, and then later I will look at it with my supporting team. So going back to the presentation. You're looking at Samana Peninsula, beautiful 80,000 hectares of land surrounded by the ocean and on the bay from the south side. So what is happening here? This is actually an unprecedented, that such a big number of international corporations and brands would come to one region within the span of 36 months. So every time you look at the development of any region, when you look at decades, not years. This happened to Punta Cana, this happened to Cap Cana, this happened to Tulum, Cancun, Phuket, Bali, Zanzibar. The growth is very, very slow, and suddenly it shoots up. It's never stable. So similarly to Samana, we have noticed an unprecedented increase in the expansion of international brands in Samana in the last 24 months. Four Seasons, just on the other side of the bay, has broken ground after getting ready to build that project for more than 10 years. Hyatt has just concluded the purchase of Grand Bahia Principe hotel chain. They apparently bought 50% of it. Let's see if they're going to be rebranding. St. Regis and Ritz-Carlton just announced they're starting to work on the project in Playa Jackson next to El Catay. Marriott has announced the creation of a new hotel in Las Terrenas. Noval Properties, by far the biggest real estate developer in the country, Spanish group, 20 years on the market, 4,000 residential units and tourist units built. Their first project outside Punta Cana is where? Samana. Grupo Brisa, the owner and developer of Cap Cana, their first project outside Cap Cana is Rincon Bay. Windham has just been purchased by a big investment fund from the Dominican Republic, the one in Las Galeras, and another one will be built. You've all heard about the opening of the cruise ship terminal within the next months in Samana. Things are happening, and in a way, there's a land grab happening when it comes to the development area in Samana. And of course, all the players are focused on the beachfront. Because one, it's, if you don't have a beach, you don't have a resort. And two, you have some large areas of flat land, which every developer wants to focus on, because building on the hills is more expensive by an order of magnitude. They're focusing on the beachfronts, and they will come soon to the middle of the peninsula. And because every time there's a resort, in the second stage, you're going to have residences. So beachfront resort that is then expanded into residences. So what makes Samana amazing is that you're able to live in the middle, and then you can go under 30 minutes to every type of beach or national park that you want. There is a window of opportunity, or a window while the land still inside is still relatively cheap, but this window is about to close because the big players are coming to Samana. So questions, can we do something about it? And which way and what's going to happen? Because I believe the signals are mixed, because on one side, there's so much great work being done by the local government when it comes to at least pushing in the Senate the law that declares Samana as ecotourism. That doesn't change much in the law, but it can change the way the law is executed for Samana in the future. But on the other side, you have so much development happening, including, you know, the opening of the cruise ship terminal, which is such a double-edged sword. You know, we're all raising questions whether this is good or not for Samana. So what's going to happen next? I mean, which way is it going to happen? Which way is it going to go? If we analyze the growth of the regions, if we analyze where Las Terrenas was 20 years ago, where Cancun was 50 years ago, where Tulum was 20 years ago, where Bali was 15 years ago, those type of regions, you can divide their growth into two types. You either see an unsupervised development with many small players, which usually happens when the region grows somehow organically, and at some point it blows up, and then it's already too late to think about the infrastructure and about the master plan. Or you have regions where actually everything was by design, a top-bottom design. However, those type of designs usually happen within corporate rooms, which have a specific agenda. You know, the same type of money funds, the same type of investments, mainly mass tourism, industrial tourism, focus on you know, profits and EBITDA within the next 3 years or 10 years, but not for the decades to come. On one side, you have a lot of many small players who are just fighting over pieces of land. Sometimes they're too greedy. Sometimes they just lack the long-term vision. Sometimes they just cannot afford to build more infrastructure. This also affects ecological projects, who just are sometimes too small to be ecological, because sustainability starts with cash flow. On the other side, you have those big corporate launched infrastructure-like projects, which are greatly managed. They usually provide a lot of returns for the investors, but sometimes or almost always at the expense of local communities and their nature. And I guess the billion-dollar question is there a third way? Can you somehow become a big project without losing the special thing about being small? So can you combine the best of both worlds? And we believe you can, and we believe that not too many people are doing this, simply because it's harder. What do I mean by that? Actually, the law already has solutions for this type of situations. And the solutions, we believe, is in the trust. When a rich person makes a lot of money and he's about to die and he's afraid his kids are about to spend all his money on private jet number 2 or Ferrari number 40, the best minds of the world, the best legal minds of the world have come up with an idea of a trust that places a socially accepted and respected trustee who manages whatever asset is inside the trust according to the will of the grantor, even after the grantor is dead. And this trust usually works for family trusts. This is why generational wealth is created. This actually is very popular among real estate in the world. Fideicomisos in the Mexico, real estate investment trusts in the US and also in the DR operate just like this. But for some reason, not for land, but we're going to talk about this in a second. This particular structure is also used when a company can work so-called on an autopilot, where you want to set up specific rules inside the company that will not change even if the owner changes and wants to squeeze more profit from the company. So we have built our solution around a trust that is working inside the Dominican Republic under the name of Fideicomiso. And what's interesting about trusts all over the world, but I'm going to stick to the example of Dominican Republic, is that it has many layers of security which are embedded inside the trust. Because remember, the origin story of a trust is to protect the trust and the assets that are inside the trust from the management, actually. Protect from greed, for example. So how does this work in real estate in this particular way in the Dominican Republic? A trust has a fiduciary, a socially respected notary or a law firm that is given the role to stick to the constitution of the trust. The constitution of the trust, as well as the assets of the trust and the business model, is then audited by ideally a big legal or consulting firm. In our case, it's PricewaterhouseCoopers. A trust also has an investment committee that is separate from the management of the trust. usually built from reputable people, maybe retired entrepreneurs or politicians or ecology experts in this case, that can opinion or veto specific decisions which were in the gray area, because you cannot predict every situation in a constitution. There's always going to be something that the constitution didn't predict. That's why you need an investment committee. Then such a trust issues bonds via one of the most secure legal jurisdiction in the world, which is in our case Luxembourg, that then issues bonds which are then deposited into the Swiss Central Security Depository, which basically means Swiss Stock Exchange. And then that trust goes through the process. We're actually in the middle of this process now, of the approval of SEC, an American Security Exchange Commission. So that trust can also bring investors, beneficiaries, people who are interested in what we're doing. Many of you are not in Dominican Republic. Many of you are joining here from the States or Europe. That's why we also need the approval of the SEC. So you have all those 6 layers of security embedded inside the trust, all of it to protect the original founding vision from greed that will come when investors and shareholders change, that will come when management change, that will come when original founders leave the company for many reasons. They have an accident, they just sell, they get tired, health reasons, and so on and so on. Trust is the solution. So the question now, is this structure used often in the trusts? And apparently it is. Because usually when you have a big real estate project, I'm going to stick to the local example, like Punta Cana, like Punta Cana Village, if I'm correct, like Casa de Campo, like Cap Cana, like Mahogany Bay, I believe, in the Bahamas. There are always 3 types of trust, and every type of trust has its own constitution and its own line of business. There's one trust that is focused on assembling all the land and developing the land that then can be used to develop a project. You have those desarrollo fideicomisos, development trusts, that allow you just to build a product, sell, that give confidence to the investors who are buying houses or apartments. And then you also have an operating trusts, otherwise called housing associations or communities, where all the rules of the community are embedded. So your lifestyle is protected because you bought yourself a villa to spend weekends, and you want to have your peace of mind, and you don't want anyone to have a party next to you because you built your house next to a party villa. And that's why there's also a trust that protects the housing association regulations. But we're focusing here on the community trusts because usually developers and big development companies use trusts to develop, because they need to show confidence to the buyers that their money won't be spent or it won't disappear for weird reasons. And also many times trust is used to manage a community because you want to protect your lifestyle forever, right? You bought your villa because you want to have a peace of mind and you want to be sure that no one's going to build a condominium just next to you. But you don't really see land bank trusts in the real estate world. And the question is why? And I believe the answer is the following. It is because, especially in the Dominican Republic, most of the real estate projects are built by big corporations, usually coming from generational wealth of different conglomerates related to powerful families. And this type of companies, they do not need money to buy land. They already have the land and they bought it very cheaply. So usually they wait until the land appreciates in value, and only then they contribute their land inside the development trust. So companies don't really invite investors to the land trust. We're slightly different. We have very ambitious plans. We don't want to stop with Nomad City. We are here talking because we want to grow Samana in an ethical way, and it will mean to try to buy as much as possible when it comes to land. I'm already giving you a spoiler alert. But in order to do that, we need additional financing, which is why we've decided to use all the safety structures and global compliance of trust that is usually used only for development and operating. We're actually using the same structure to do a land bank trust, simply because we want to develop land together with other investors. So that's where the difference comes. I've already spoken a lot about how the trust works. There's a land bank investment that collects money from the investors. Then that money is being sold. That land is being sold to the development trust. Development trust makes money by developing, sends money back to an escrow trust, and the money is then distributed for all the beneficiaries and investors under the compliance of third-party international organizations, not to be exposed to the risk of being only under one jurisdiction. This is why it's done like this. Happy to answer this in question in the Q&A, because I don't want to get too technical now. What values have we embedded in the trust? I believe this is the question now. So we focus on what we believe at this stage is super important, but this is not everything, because as I told you, every trust has its own constitution. This is the constitution of the Land Bank Trust. But when Land Bank Trust contributes land to another project, that project can have its own additional ecological, sustainability, local empowerment values. But this is considered as a meta constitution of the Land Bank Trust. And it's very tricky to quantify it, because remember, it has to be codified into a constitution, into a legal piece of paper. We decided that the 4 pillars of Land Bank Trust, for now, at this stage, maybe later we will add more, once we become more wise how to do it. These are the 4 pillars. Low density development. We do not build more than 20% of the land that we acquire. The Land Bank Trust will never sell land to any development project that will not continue this rule, which means 20% of a total area of development, when a particular singular plots might have a 40% density. Because nature needs space to breathe. You can't just buy 1 hectare and develop 90% of it. The low density is one of the most important aspects of sustainability, we believe. Inclusive empowerment basically means we're going to be reinvesting, as we are now, always 5% of the profits from the Land Bank Trust into the local community. And this is besides hiring locals. This is besides giving microloans, besides hiring local subcontractors. On top of everything, the trust redistributes 5% of profits into inclusive empowerment. And in this particular case, we have 2 projects which are already running, which is English teaching, English classes. The other one is microloans. And the third one most likely will be support to collect trash, because local community many times burns trash, not because they don't care about ecology, but because sometimes they just don't have a car to take the trash to the trash place. I forgot the English word. Sustainable self-sufficiency within the 5 years of every project. A project has to stick to these 4 KPIs. 40% of energy has to come from renewable energy. In this case, this is solar. This is totally doable with the amount of sunny days and the amount of roof area and car park area that we're going to have. 40% of food within the first 5 years will be sourced from local suppliers. Super doable because of how lush in food both for vegetarians and omnivores Samana is. And 50% of water, actually 40%, sorry. 40% of water, unless something has changed, 40% of water will be used from rain for grey water in the project. Cultural preservation, another 5% of the EBITDA will be spent on the local culture supporting initiatives. In our particular case, permanent museum of the history in Samana. Who knows what's going to be next? Why now? As I already told you, all those big players are going after beachfront property, and it's only a matter of time they will start to do a proper expansion inside. Now, this poses a big threat for those who are residents. If you live in Samana for 4 months per year or 5 months per year, or if you live in Samana full-time, you're probably not going to be living at the beach. We all know why. You want to live inside. You want to have your rancho. You want to have your view of the mountain or on the ocean. Our project is 1 kilometer from the bay, 200 meters above the bay, and we have all the views without the noises and the mosquitoes of living next to the beach. But people living inside will have an emerging problem of having access to all the beaches, because according to Dominican law, all the beaches are public, but no one enforces the law that forces every developer to provide an access inside their master plan community. So the law that is not enforced is a dead law. I mean, if we are a big and powerful organization focused on building projects which are low impact for residents, mainly inland, inside the peninsula, we will have the means necessary to enforce the law, to allow residents and local communities to have access to the beach. For example, at least by enforcing the law and reminding developers not to forget that there has to be a path next to their project to the beach. As a fund, as a trust, we're focusing on now buying all the land inside the peninsula for obvious reasons, because this is an open webinar. We've taken the calculated risk to share with you our plans, but I hope you understand we will not share with you which particular plots of land we're buying, who we have purchase options with, who we have promises to sell with, because at the end of the day, the deal is not done until it's done, which is why there's only so much we can share at this stage. However, we have purchase options for more than 4,000 hectares, which will be 5% of the whole Samana Peninsula as of now, and that number is about to double still this year. However, time is running out. We need more money to buy it faster before the big players enter the game. That's why we've decided to launch this trust earlier than originally planned. Anyone that is interested, I believe there's a banner every time I'm speaking here. You can enter our landing page on our website. You just go to the website www.samana.group or click this button and go to the button invest, and you have more details there. You can actually download all the files, asset risk assessment, the deck, the fact sheet, all the documents prepared by our auditors and by the company that does the securitization for us. This webinar is for early birds. We have 100 slots and 100 plots available for everyone that decides to invest and become a beneficiary of this trust. There are certain advantages of investing early. One, the investment ticket is way lower than it will be by default, because now it's $25,000. By default, it's a $100,000, so it's not a small ticket because it has to be for accredited investors only. You have to, for those early birds, you need to pay $5,000 initial first, but then you have time till end of November, because the trust will be closing by end of November latest, with first tranche closing end of June. This allows for every early bird, using language from another deck, to be able to get plots at the end of your investment. Let's say you invest now, and after 3 years you want to convert your investment into a plot. When you want to buy a plot from the offer of the trust, you're actually going to be buying from the prices from today, from the offer, not from the prices that will most likely go up in the year 2028 in this particular case. Everyone that is a beneficiary of the trust, every time plots are being sold according to the master plan, the offer goes first to the beneficiaries. And last but not least, I believe this is the most important part, those who are investing now in the trust at this stage, those who are becoming beneficiaries of the trust at this stage, will have voting rights in the investment committee. So we're inviting, and that's why we've decreased the investment minimum ticket. So not only people with $100,000 can have an access to have a say in how we're going to grow this together. That's why we've decreased to $25,000, and you can collect that money until end of November, in order to then build this committee together, and then make changes to the constitution together. This is the moment for everyone that is interested in what we're doing to get more details. And be part of not only the investment, but also of the investment committee that creates and shapes the future. Because we can't do this alone. We need you to develop Samana together, because we want to live here for at least a few more decades, if not more. Go to our website, Samana Land Trust. You can have all the details there. And there are a couple of things that you can do. If this sounds like a no-brainer for you, you just go to Samana Land Bank Trust, you click I'm ready, you fill out the form, subscribe, and you've already taken your spot. If you feel like you want to have some more questions, you can book a call directly with me or with any of our representatives. Or you can just download all the files and discuss it with your legal advisor, with your investor, with your wife, with your partner, and then have a call with us. Depending on at what stage of decision making you are, and why are you even here? Are you here because you care about the cost? Are you here because you want to live in Samana? Or are you here because you just want to make some money in a project that is sustainable and has aspects of impact investing in a real way, in a way that forces us to do it by the Constitution, then please be my guest. Okay, I've been talking for 38 minutes, actually 33, because we started late, and I think it's time to open the room for questions. So please remember, we will be answering questions about the Land Bank Trust, because this is a particular initiatives that has to do with the whole peninsula. The Land Bank Trust is the core of any other real estate development project. So I'll be answering mainly about Land Bank Trust. I can answer quickly some questions about Nomad City, but this is not the focus. Nomad City is a separate project. When will the commune areas will be completed? So I believe this is the question for Nomad City. Every real estate project has its own timeline. Land Bank Trust will be able to contribute land or sell land to any projects in Samana that fit this sustainability rules, fit this community rules. But I understand, I assume you're asking about Nomad City, so this is April next year. This is recorded. We will send the recording of this webinar to all the people who are here, to those who have signed up, and feel free to share it to whoever you consider a potential also interested person. How liquid is this investment? Can I exit before 5 years? Yes. So the maturity of the bonds starts with 3 years. So you can exit the bonds between third or fifth year. The bond, and again, all the materials are inside the data sheet that you can download from the invest page. The way the bond works is you get the quarterly paid coupon of 12%. The Land Bank Trust generates cash from day one because it already has buyers for the land. The client number one is our development trust, and then you will have other clients. So first you have 12% quarterly coupons, and then at the end of third year, you can exit either with cash, that's going to be 150 equity kicker. So overall, it's a 25% IRR, or you can actually convert your bond into a plot or into a house, and then the conversion is double. So this actually bond incentivizes you to maybe after 3 years decide to change your investment not into cash but into a plot of land, so you can build your house or buy a house from us. The details are in the data sheet. I encourage you to download it. I didn't want this webinar to be like a sales-oriented webinar. If you're interested, please book a call or just sign up and then let's talk. But it's a 12% annually paid, quarterly paid coupon, maturity between third and fifth year, with a 100% cash kicker at the end or after third year, and 300 if it's a conversion to real estate. A question from Evelyn: what is the difference between investing in the trust versus investing in the property? Okay, this could be a subject another webinar. If you invest in the property, you own the property with all of its benefits and risks. You have to pay taxes. You have to make sure no one steals from you. You have to make sure no one takes away your property. It's not liquid. You have to sell it. You can live there. You can rent it out. It's a real estate. When you invest in a trust, you're investing in a security which is built on top of the trust that owns all the land. So it's like investing in stocks, but stocks are very volatile. You can lose money because stocks valuation is very dynamic. Here, it's an asset. It's a fixed cash flow, fixed income, securitized on all the land that we have. But from the technical point of view, you're investing in a security, not in a real estate, which means you don't pay real estate tax. And when you want to sell it, you just sell it in specific time frame. As I said, you can exit at 3%. So you already know what you're signing up for. Unlike just investing in real estate. Real estate is more of a lifestyle decision. Phil Legend: what happens if I save a spot and can't sell my assets before end of November? You will lose the initial payment, or you will find another person that will just take this from you. I believe the early bird offer is pretty strong. I'm expecting this 100 slots to be taken in the next few days, and I think there will be a secondary market for it. We will allow to do a transfer of ownership of the early bird spot. Michael has asked is the land value really enough to cover investor payouts if something goes wrong? So short answer is yes. Long answer is the unit economics of this business, one, have been already done. We've done the full cycle. We've been already doing this for the last few years. We've done this, the full cycle for 100 units in Nomad City 1. The models have been scrutinized and audited by PricewaterhouseCoopers, by Allen and Overy, by our security advisors. The security advisor company is run by a former CEO of Hanover Stock Exchange. So I guess the answer is yes. There's always risk because at the end of the day, it's business. You can never predict some certain black swan events, but the unit economics are very healthy. The land bank has a high collateralization rate, which means we're raising $20 million in total, but the value of all the land trust after we execute of the purchase options will be at around $58 million. It's unlevered, which means as of now, there's no debt on this land. So these are very healthy economics. Feel free to download the data sheet and send it to whoever advisor you have and get a second opinion. We've been working on this. I think it's important to mention. We've been working on this undercover for almost 2 years now. For obvious reasons, we couldn't be too public about this because the moment we say we want to buy land, you know, the price can go up. This is a calculated risk because we believe time is running out. But we've spent a few $100,000 just on preparing the legal structure of this. We're talking about 4 jurisdictions at the same time: Dominican Republic, US, Luxembourg, and Switzerland, and many companies being involved, because the safety of this type of projects is usually the biggest issue when you're investing in DR. And you know, don't believe me, do your own due diligence, but there's no other project that is structured this way with such a safety lever in the whole Caribbean. But I don't want to like brag. Please check yourself. Does a purchase in the trust convey a title upon completing investment? Yes, you have a option to buy a plot, but it's a first comes first served. So you have to always be on the lookout when the land bank issues an offer of the plots, because we buy land, we title it, we develop it, we bring roads, electricity, and so on, and then we either sell it to end user if we have a master plan, or we develop a master plan with the developer, and then it goes to the market. So there's a moment where beneficiaries of the trust have a right of first refusal, but then you have to be, you know, online and you have to claim your slot, claim your plot. Are you aware of any imminent plans for more direct flights from the US, Miami? Not any imminent. So this is the problem with the flights. We had already flights from Miami and New York before COVID. Then COVID came. Although the whole economy and the tourism has already surpassed the pre-COVID numbers, what has happened is the airlines were hit heavily when it comes to their profitability, and they don't have as much money to grow as they used to have. What also happened recently is that Santo Domingo has improved their terminal, and you know, it's 2.5 hours drive from Samana to Santo Domingo. It's manageable. So as of now, airlines prefer to open new connections to Santo Domingo. It's just a matter of time when there's going to be enough units built in Samana that is going to have financial sense. Usually, in order to have one regular connection, the airlines would say, for 10,000 houses or for 10,000 residents, we can have one flight per week, regular. 10,000 that, you know, have some connection with the US. So I'd say give it 2 or 3 more years. I actually haven't mentioned this on the slide. Vinci, which is the operator of the El Catay Airport and Santo Domingo Airport, actually has extended the license to manage El Catay Airport till year 2060. And they also extended the license to manage Arroyo Barril Airport till year 2060. So I think they know what's coming. If they manage Santo Domingo, but they're still investing in El Catay, they know that they will make money from both airports. So I think the same fact that Vinci extended the license says a lot. So I think in the long term, we know it's coming. I'm not going to tell you if it's going to come in the next 6 months or in the next 2 years. But Google Vinci Airports extending Samana license. You will find out yourself. What are the next questions? Is the plan for Samana Group purchase land from the trust as it's ready for expansion? Yes, that is correct. So Nomad City has an expansion plan for the next 9 stages. and it's the as of today is the primary buyer of the land from the trust. So the trust has all the land secured, and then the development trust, in our case Nomad City, because this is our first project, will be buying the land for its future growth. That said, even though we want to stick, even if we stick to the 20% development ratio, considering how much land we're buying in total, there's space to build a few thousand of units without a significant impact on the nature, because of how much land in total we will have. Now, there's another important aspect which I haven't mentioned, why the trust needs to have so much land. And it's because every land bank trust also is a member of the community, the one that manages a real estate project. So, for example, Nomad City, once Nomad City is finished, the Samana Land Trust will have 51% of votes of Nomad City, because your votes come from how much land you have. So Samana Land Trust contributes land to Nomad City. The land will not be developed. This will be a park to walk around, just greenery. So it doesn't affect the financials of Nomad City, but it affects the lifestyle. What does it give the trust? It gives the trust to have majority of the votes in Nomad City, which means it will protect the constitution of the trust. It will not allow for anyone to build higher. It will not allow to be greedy and suddenly build another hotel and so on. So land trust has so much land, not just to keep it, but to have it inside every development project, because then according to the Dominican law that codifies the way communities are being managed, by having most of the land, you have most of the votes. And if our trust is inside every community that we sell land to, although we sold them land, we are also not allowing them to change their mind and go against us, because we still have votes in the community. Actually, this deserves a slide on its own. I forgot to add it here. Next question. Can investors visit or see the land they're backing? Of course. So, I mean, once you sign up and sign the NDA, you will have access to all the plots that we're purchasing. Now, for obvious reasons, no. So another question about liquidity, I believe this was already answered because it was a similar question about unit economics. Actually, I have a slide here. So there's a document called Asset Risk Management that analyzes every potential risk of how the trust works. So one, we actually have to sell a few hectares per month. Actually, excuse me. I don't remember the numbers now, but let's say we have to sell around 10, 20 hectares per year to make enough money to be able to serve the returns for the investors. Now, Nomad City development is enough to buy enough land from the trust to make enough money for the investors. So just by working with Nomad City, this land trust is making enough money to pay investors. However, if there's any issues, the land bank trust can sell that land to any other interested parties, whether this is a small developer or just an end user, a resident, as long as they stick to our constitution. Please just, I send you to our asset risk management. This is all very well thought through. Again, risks are always there, but you're not going to find a better structured land bank project right now in the Caribbean. That I'm sure of. I'm going to go to the next question. When will the cruise be open? I believe it's November this year or October. I don't have much information about the cruise will work. It's a double-edged sword. What I know based on the research, I mean, this is available research, you can just Google it. Cruise ship passengers provide cocaine-like boost for the economy by coming for a day, spending $70, making a bunch of noise, buying some souvenirs, and then disappearing. There's definitely a chance to profit for local merchants and facultative tour operators. That said, I'm happy to share the research with you if you write me directly. There's a ratio of 100 to 1 of tourists versus residents. So a foreign-based resident that is a snowbird spends, puts 100 times more money into the economy per year than a cruise ship terminal. So I would choose 10 residents over 1,000 cruise ship clients every time. But at some stage, you need this. It's a complicated matter. How big the plots will be? So the minimum plots is 300, and then they can be multiplied into modules. So 300, 600, 900. That said, if a developer buys land from our trust, he can come up with a totally different idea when it comes to plot size. As long as it fits the constitution, we're okay with this. But the Nomad City plots are always a multiplication over 300, simply because the house is 100. So to start with, you have a 30% density in your own plot. I'm not counting the terrace. Michael, scheduling call now. Thank you so much, Michael. Looking forward. Alex, thank you so much. Also, Kalin, who currently owns the majority of the land in Samana? Good question. So one, not all of the land in Samana is titled. There's still a lot of farmland that doesn't have titles, and I believe this is like 60 or 70%, but I'm not sure of these numbers. There was a lot of land that was redistributed from the government in an informal way in the 60s, 50s, and 40s. I mean, basically, the dictator was giving out land to all his generals, and then that land would be divided into small pieces because those people that were close to the dictator would pay other people in land, not with money. So then those largely accumulated pieces of land were quickly divided. Then there's around 1,000 farmers that were giving land for free by the government. And there's also a lot of disputed land in Samana. For example, the whole Santa Barbara de Samana downtown has a very complicated legal situation because there was a lot of displaced communities by Balaguer. So developers are afraid to actually develop in Samana inside the downtown because you cannot get a clean title. So, and this is why Samana is so complicated. And maybe this is why it has protected Samana for all these years from overdevelopment, because big investment funds and developers were afraid of the super complicated legal framework and not clear ownership structure. But of course, beachfront properties are the most valuable ones. So any consulting companies, any law firms, any land titling companies were interested to clean the legal situation of the beachfront. And you see what's happening. So as of now, it's a mosaic of different owners. There's also a lot of wealthy families from the DR and US, but it's very diversified. It's not like 80-20. You actually don't see a leader. Are these all the questions? I'm asking the moderation. I'm checking. I'm checking now the questions before moderations. Maybe I'll find something here. Interesting. Osvaldo said that he asked a question, but he didn't see a reply. But I don't see a question from Osvaldo. So maybe you can write again. Michael has asked about returns in phase one. So the net margin was 85%. I can share that number because it's in the files anyway. Laura has asked how many cruise ports, harbors. There's one cargo port, one cruise ship terminal being opened. The recording will be shared. And I believe that's it. Okay, we'll be slowly coming to an end. Thank you so much for spending time with me till the end. When we started, there was 40 of us. Now there's 47. So I believe most of you stayed till the end. That means I wasn't boring you to death. My high encouragement is to go to our website now, check all the materials, download the files, have a read, book a call with me or any of my representatives. We are into something interesting. Time is running out. We're looking for the first 100 beneficiaries that will not only have a plot of land or investment, but will also be heard and will benefit, but will contribute to the way we run investment committee and the way we are finalizing our constitution. So thank you so much again, and speak soon. And in Samana we trust. Bye bye.